Today is, what's the date today? It is the 11th of June, and this might be like, it's probably gonna be like 2 days that I'm gonna cover in this video. In my last video I made ginger beer, and it's been a couple days since that's been in the fridge, so it should be pretty much ready to go now. And so let's open one up and try it. I have to admit, I've already had one, I think yesterday, and to be honest, a lot could change in one day, so let's see how this is. I don't think it should overflow, but just in case, I got a rag. Oh, just lost the cap. Not too much. At least it didn't explode, which is always good. Just gotta get past all the foam, and then if you watch my past video, you remember the color of this was quite brown. But if you look at it now, it's gone from brown to like this golden, much more gingery color. And look at that perfect foam. There's little bits of yeast floating around, but there's just yeast, it's nothing harmful. It's quite dry, as in it's not that sweet, but in my last video I did change my recipe a little bit and put less sugar because I didn't want it to be too sweet. Also, I think the flavors come out a little bit weaker, but then that could also be because normally I let it steep overnight. But for the sake of the last video, I actually just had it go for about an hour or two in the fridge, so the ginger didn't have much time to really like soak into the liquid. The carbonation though is great. The chili I'm not really getting much of. Maybe next time I'll add another chili or 3 chilies maybe. But the carbonation is so smooth. Maybe in this video we can make the lemongrass version of this. Maybe we can do that. And then in the next video we'll have a lemongrass beer. Lemongrass aid. This is very slightly alcoholic, so that's why they call it beer. But let's get started on that. So, since we're going to be doing lemongrass, I only have a little bit of lemongrass, so we'll only really make 1 bottle's worth. I'll use this bottle to measure out the amount of water, so I'll fill this up completely and then add a little bit more to make up for condensation when I boil it. Can't really smell anything at the moment, but let's cut it and see how it smells. That's much better. Alright, let's blend this up. If you can see that, but you can see how white and cloudy that's gone. It's almost like milk. I just remembered I didn't really measure the amount of lemongrass I put in there, so we'll kind of have to guess the sugar. If anything, I'll under sugar it so that I don't end up over fermenting and causing like an explosion in my kitchen with these beer bottles. So let's get this in there. We'll take this over here. This is the weakest burner, so this might take a while to come up to temperature. We'll put the lid on and it should help it come up to temperature faster. This is honestly starting to smell so good. The steam coming off of it, I can smell it from the other room. So this is definitely boiling now. Yep, definitely boiling. And it's basically turned like a very sort of like deep green color, if you can see. One thing I did do was I googled the average weight of a lemongrass stalk and gave me about 50 grams. The thing is, the ones that I bought were cut down a little bit, so I might go ahead and assume they're about 30 grams. So I'll add about 60 grams of sugar. So yeah, that's about 60 grams of demerara sugar, same as last time, so we'll dump that in. Just give it a little mix. I'm just gonna let the sugar dissolve, and then I'm not gonna boil it any further, and then we'll just let it cool down and then steep overnight. Put the lid back on so that it doesn't evaporate, and then we'll set it there. Okay, I actually know what I'm gonna do next. I bought some mustard seeds because I wanted to make mustard. So it'll only take like 5 minutes. So let's put that together right now. The first thing that we have to do is just basically put them in water with a bit of salt and something to sort of like kickstart the fermentation. So we're gonna choose something from my little fermentation corner that we can use. I've got all sorts of different flavor vinegars going. I've got the sauerkraut, I've got the ginger fermentation. We can just choose anything, and then we'll add that, and that hopefully might just give it a little bit of flavor as well. These are black mustard seeds. Let's say about 200 grams. That much. So we basically just want it to be completely covered, and then some. That's 379, so we'll 2% of 379, let's just round that to 380. So that's 7.6 grams of salt. So we'll zero that again. We'll bring it down to 7 actually, just to keep things simple. So this is an IPA beer, which I've put a SCOBY into. So this is kind of like a beer kombucha / vinegar thing. And yeah, you can definitely smell the beer, you can smell the vinegariness. Don't want much, just a little bit. There you go, that should do for now, honestly. Make sure all of that salt is dissolved. Put that over top and then hold that down. Put that there. And then this has to sit for about a week, so put it right in the back there. A little context for this next part. We have this bathtub that came with the house 20, 30 years ago or something, however long that my family's owned this house. But that bathtub's been in the garden for the longest time and basically just not been used. So what I've done is I've turned it into a little garden patch, or like a little vegetable patch. So let's just show you guys some of what I got growing in there. This is the whole tub here. So you can see it's a big metal tub. Pretty old, pretty rusty, but you know, it holds quite a lot of volume. And as you can see, I've kind of labeled each of what I've got in here. These ones aren't doing too good, so I might actually change this out. This is supposed to be garlic. These were pieces of garlic I already had growing, so I tore them out of the ground and replanted them in here, but I might change them out. Here we've got pak choi, which I'm gonna let grow, and then I'm gonna pick out all the smaller ones and just let the biggest ones grow. Here we got spinach, which is sort of just growing wild anyways, and that's gonna be good just to harvest whenever I need it. Here we've got aubergines, aka eggplants, and these will hopefully just grow nice and big and bushy and hopefully get some decent sized aubergines, eggplants off of them. And then over here we've got a couple different vining plants. So we've got courgettes, which are zucchinis, got some cucumbers, and we've got some cucumbers here, regular cucumbers. These are pickling cucumbers. And then here we've got these like crystal lemon cucumbers, and they're going to be growing up of this and then hopefully all over, and they'll be dangling. We can pick some of those and eat those too. These are fermented berries. So these ones are lacto fermented, so with the classic 2% salt. However, these ones are the same amount of berries but with no salt at all, so just left in a vacuum seal bag to ferment themselves. I've tasted both of them, and I have to say this one is very tangy, sweet, sort of acidic. It's got that nice fermented flavor, yet it's still got all the berry stuff in it. I'm going to turn this one into a jam, and then this one I will probably just puree and keep as is, as a puree and put that in the fridge to basically stop the fermentation and use it as like a garnish for dishes and food and stuff. First we'll do the jam. These blueberries are so full of gas. They're just little, whenever you push them down, they're just bursting with gas. I'll just let that come up to a boil and then I'll add some sugar. I'm not going to be precise with anything, so I'll just add as much sugar and keep tasting it as I go. We had a minor spillage, a little bit of overflow, but we got it under control. I added a tiny bit more sugar, but I'm going to taste it just to see. That is so good. I'm telling you, fermenting your berries before making jam out of them is just the way to go. Although I might just add a tiny bit more sugar just to help it solidify a bit, and then we'll mix that in, and we'll keep reducing this down until it's nice and thick. Shit. So we got a couple things we need to do today. One, the jam I made yesterday, I actually just left it overnight to cool off and it has become jam-like, if you can see that. So today we'll put this into a jar, probably store it in the fridge. Hey. I'm wearing white today, so I don't want to get my stuff dirty. So I'm going to use this glass jar and just a lid with it. Voila, that's the fermented berry jam. Now let's do the lemongrass beer. And yes, before anyone asks, this is another different camera. This is my brand new camera, which I've been planning on getting for a while. But I'm slowly working towards a setup where I can get good quality video while still really not worrying about filming too much. So this is step one in working towards that goal. That's actually quite a lot of spillage, but hopefully you'll be all right. I really want to get this yeast just properly mixed in. In the meantime, I'm going to disinfect my bottle. Trusty bottle caps, bottle capper. Just going to pour a tiny bit of alcohol in here, just on the inside, because that's going to be the bit that's touching the liquid. So these are mustard seeds from yesterday, and I can tell you now there's a lot of activity going on in there. Let me get you a close look at this. Watch closely at this area here when I mix it. See if I can get some of these bubbles to come up. That means lots of fermentation is happening, which is great. Ooh, it's definitely got that mustardy smell coming on, with a little bit of that beer vinegar that I used. So look at that, the foam coming up at the top as well. That's really fine bubbling going on there. So that's going right on track. So this has dried out now. All the alcohol's fully dried out. Last time I was a lot more cautious with disinfecting everything, even the funnel and everything, but this time I'll be honest, because this isn't a long-term ferment and we're putting yeast in beforehand, I don't think disinfecting any of this extra stuff will really make a difference. So we'll just disinfect the bottle, put it right in and set it going. It's So we've got that filled to about here. And then we'll put the cap on, cap's dry. Let's punch this down. And there you go, that's bottled now. So we'll put this in the corner for 1 day, move it to the fridge for like 2 or 3 days, and then the next episode we'll open this up.